This is Irontrader. Is the last call of the day. Take a look here at Bitcoin, at gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and the indexes, which are all nice and green. Now, they were popping up here at midday trading, and then she came down, but it looks like they're ripping right back up here. We'll see how we close today. Okay, at the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell any stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin, your daily and your weekly chart. Okay, now I can see here, well, we got ourselves a green candle, but look what we put in that lower low situation, which is, not very good. And you can see we're still below that 21 day. Okay, so on the upside, here's your target is 99.50. Very key level. We get above that. We have the 50 day at 91.705, and then we have that 8 day at 93.081. Now, what I don't like about that 8 day, see how that thing is rolling over, just like we had here where it had a cross and then came all the way down. So that's got to maintain that 50 day and 21 day. Otherwise, this price is going to be going lower. Okay, so again, right there, that 21 day, okay, the 50 day, and that 8 day are all your key resistance levels. Now we get above that, we come up here to yesterday's high at 95,600 level. Then we can come all the way up here to that 98,200. Then we can obviously, your big target is going to be your 100 day and your 200 day. And then on your weekly chart, your big target is going to be your 21 day here, sitting at 108.90, and your 50 day at 101.319. If you can get through all of this resistance, okay, very key. Now on the downside here, what we'll do is we're watching yesterday's low. Okay, that's at 89.255, and then today's low at that 87.270 level. Now we cracked that. We're going to come right down to the bottom of that candle. Looking at 86.380. That's your next downside target. We have 84.505. We have 84.120, and then there's a big boy at 87.50 level, okay? Now, when we look at the weekly chart here, that 100-day needs to hold by Friday. So today's Wednesday. We've got a couple days here left that needs to hold. So far, we are holding it. We bounced right off it nicely. Okay, now we've been holding it for how many weeks here now? Very nicely. And the 8 day, we're still, we're still above the 8 day, and the 8 day still above the 100 day, which is always good. So again, by Friday, we just want to make sure that we hold against that 100 day. Other than that, we could come down to this retest here at that 87.50. Now, we start losing that, then right here is your target is going to be. It's going to be that 78.675. We look to the bottom there at 76.735, and then here's the big boy at 74.635 level. Okay, so we start losing that. We have all your support levels here, but your big target is going to be all the way down to 57 level. Okay, so just be a little bit cautious here. For me, it's a two-way trade. Now, again, we still have an uptrending chart. Low, higher low, and a higher low situation, even though this does look ass ugly with that big red candle yesterday, okay? But let's just see if we can gain some strength, a little bit of momentum here, and maybe get back above that 21 day, 50 day, and that 8 day, so that 8 day doesn't curl up and doesn't curl down, I should say, and we get the curl right back up again. Now, 45, that's not overbought, oversold. The green is still over your red. Looks like it wants to pinch down, but it also wanted to pinch down right here. Then she moved up nicely here. So just be a little bit patient with this. My easy trade, BITX for the long, BITI there for the short. Now, if you want a one-to-one, you can also do IBIT. That's always a good one. And remember, those are backed by BlackRock. They got $52 billion in cash, so they're really not going anywhere. And the thing about it is you can trade those 24 hours a day, Sunday night, 8 o'clock, all the way till Friday, 8 o'clock at night there. So, easy in, easy out kind of a situation. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. All right, here we have the gold, okay? So I'm all out of my trade. I got stopped out of GLD. We're all done for right now, okay? Because what we have here, we got ourselves a topping tail. Okay, 48.91. So when I call out these numbers here, these flat numbers, okay, you're never really going to go to a flat number. So if you're looking at, say, 4,900, it's always going to come in a little bit shy. It never goes that up. The key is, once it goes above that number, like say this goes above 4,900, then you're going to be looking for that 5,000 mark, okay? But if it doesn't get above that, it just always going to be just a little bit shy kind of a situation. So that's what you're watching on the upside, is that 48.91. We crack that, then I think you're going to venture to that 5,000 mark. Now, here on the downside here, we're holding here nicely. So look at 47.61 here. Then we're going to come right down here to that 46.40. That's going to be key. Then we'll look at the top of that candle at 45.84. Then we have your 45.16, your 21 SMA here, which has been holding the whole time very nicely. Now, again, we have a topping tail, so be very careful. And we still have this negative divergence going on here, okay? So we have a high, lower high, okay? We have a high, and we have a higher high with a topping tail. So just be a little bit careful there. The green is still over your red, so just be a little bit patient, because if the market rips up, okay, I think these will rip that guy down, because I always look at these as like a fear factor situation. So right now I have no trade on, GLD stopped out, done. Okay, so silver, same thing, all done with the SLV. Now what I'm watching here is that today we got the high as 95.53. Yesterday we had that high at 95.78. Now we cracked that, then I think you're going to venture to that 100. So if you do the fibs, you're looking at about 100 right there. Sometimes you can overreach that by going to like 105, that kind of a situation, but that's going to be very, very strong resistance. Now a downside, just watch that 8-day. That's going to be key, 89. 08 level here. Then we'll come to the bottom of that candle, 86.57. Then we want to come to the top of that candle right there at 82.67. And then we were looking for that 21-day at 79.79. But right now, we're still above that 8-day. And as long as we're above it, it's sideways to up action. Might be just getting a little consolidation going on here. Now, when we look at here on this RSI, you can see here this is negative divergence. High, lower high. High, way high. Okay, so plenty high right there, okay? So maybe that thing's on weed because look how high that thing is, okay? So this is looking here, absolute nosebleed. So when you take the chart out and you look at this, it's like, holy smokes, man, that thing is just like, at the very, very top. So you got to be very, very careful. I've traded charts like this at the top. Use a stop loss. Don't be foolish and say, it's going to go to 100 and 105, 200, 150, and very well might, but just take one level at a time, but always protect your money. Okay, let's take a look here now at the old crude oil. All right, here we have crude oil. Now, T-Man here, he was in Davos today. He's talking up all the oil and all this kind of stuff. But just remember, okay, just think back the last time he was president. Okay, he does not like high oil. I remember trading oil, and all of a sudden, boom, down goes $2-3 because he's tweeting, hey, I just called Saudi Arabia. We need lower prices. So just remember that. Use stop losses on here. Now, we're still in a downtrending situation, okay? So just remember that until we get above this 62.17, which is that 200-day, then we reverse that, then we can start hitting all these targets upside, okay? But right now here on the downside, let me bigger up a little bit for you there, okay? There you go. Now you're talking. Okay, so this is what we're watching. We're watching yesterday's high, that 60.51. This is the key level right here is going to be that 100-day at 60.12. The next key level is going to be at 59.91. Then we come to the bottom of today's candle, 59.22. Then we run right into that 50-day at 58.60 and that 21-day at 58.48. Okay, so right now, as long as we're above all of this, this is a good trade. I've been just scalping the UCO. Okay, and that's all I've been really trading. I haven't done anything on the downside. I'm all out of the SCO. Just trade on that UCO. That's what we're really watching. Now, here on the upside, you're looking at 60.89. Okay, your next level is going to be right there. Okay, 61.01. That's your next target. Then your next upside is going to be right there at 61.50. Then we have 62.17. Then we have your big retest there at 62.36. Yeah, 62.36. Okay, so that is your upside. So right now, this is just a trade. Watch the 100-day, okay, the 8-day, the 50-day, 21-day. That's all your downside support levels, okay? Just like we had that big sell-up, it went down, but it held that 50-day. Yesterday came down, held that 50-day, put an indecision candle, and then today we made a higher high and a higher low, okay? I really believe that we're going to retest that 200 SMA here. It just looks like it wants to go to that 62.17 and retest it, and then we have to see. Now, again, if we start cracking above all that, then what we're going to do is we're going to come right over here to the top of that candle. You're looking at 62.92 level, okay? Then we come up here to the top of there. You're looking at 63.89, and then we can venture up there at 64.20. We come up there at 64.76, and then we have 65.05, 65.40, and then here's the big boy is at 66.42. That's your big retest. But you got to close above that 200 SMA. So if this rallies up here to that 200-day, let's see what the reaction is. Does it blast through? Does it double top? Does it go sideways? That's what we want to know is what the reaction is to that bad boy, okay? Now, you're only sitting at 58, plenty of room to run. The green is over your red here. So, again, this is, for me, just a trade. UCO for long is what I'm trading right now. And then I can always take, if it starts dumping off, I jump in the SCO and would take a short ski. All right, let's see what's going on with this wild natural gas. Wow, look at natural gas here. Wow, wet and wild. You should go out with a girl like that. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, here we have just 2 days of just blast. Okay, now this is all about the big Arctic blast that's coming across the U.S. here. That's all this is. But, big but here, okay? When you see this happening, they don't call this the Widowmaker for nothing. When you see this straight line action right up here, this is going to be a fantastic short. Okay, so if you're not long, don't worry about it. Just sit on your hands. This is going to be a great shorting opportunity. Not today, but eventually this is going to be a very good shorting opportunity. Okay, so always think, easy way to trade this on alongside UNG. That's what I am in. KOLD is an easy way to shade on the short side, which is down 18% there today because it's a leverage fund. But again, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be a great short. Just be patient. Don't jump in now. Be patient until we get some kind of a topping formation, okay? So on the upside here, we're looking at today's high, looking at that 4.97 level, okay? Then we'll come up here, looking at right there to that 498. See that? Okay, that's your resistance levels right there. The next level is going to is 503. Then we'll come up there at 509, and then we have 520. And then we look at this candle. Look at the closing. That's 533, and then we hit 549. Okay, then we have to. That's the big retest, and we have to see where we stand once we break above that. But right now, you know what I'm saying? If you look right to the left of the chart here, there's plenty of room to run all the way to that $10 area. But again, we're not looking at that. We're just taking one level at a time here. Now, on the downside here, we just follow the candles all the way down there. Okay, so your big support level, okay, is going to be right here. You just take this right over here to the left, okay? So that's 4.68. That's going to be very, very key. Then we come to the top of that candle at 4.59, and then we just venture right down here at that 4.42, and then we can just work yourself all the way down to get that 50-day at 419. Okay, now this is your price now is above all your simple moving averages in 2 days. Okay. But remember, they call this the Widowmaker for nothing. Just remember that. But this is going to be a great short. So sit on your hands. Okay. If you miss this trade, just sit on your hands. I think we have room to run to retest that for 549. So you can do a little scalp ski. Okay. But again, sit on your hands because this is going to be a good trade all the way on down here again. All right. Let's take a look here at the indexes. All right. Here we have the indexes. Here's the Dow. Okay. So we take that right on out there. You can see here the Dow, big V reshape there, and melted right on up here. Okay, so what we do here is we just look at what we had. Now we put in a higher low, very, very nice, and we're above that 21-day, but where did we go? Right into that 8-day. So that's going to be big resistance, 49,243. Okay, we get above that. Well, we got pretty much a clean shot all the way to that 49,633 level, okay? So that's what we're going to be looking at. That's your breakout. We crack that, you're going to go to that 50 mark, okay? That's just that easy. Now, we're only sitting here at 56. That's not overbought or sold. The green is just a sideways action. So again, this is still looking very, very good, okay? Now remember, these big swings in the market, you better get used to that because that's what this year is going to be. When you start saying, I'm going to put tariffs on, I'm taking tariffs off, I'm putting 10% on, I'm putting 25% off, you know, I want Greenland, I want this, I want that. Well, this is what you get, okay? So just get used to these swings. Now, if you're only a long trader, sit on your hands. Wait for the opportunity. If you're a short trader, do the same thing. Just sit on your hands. If you're a two-way trader like I am, who gives a shit? I don't care if this market goes up or down. You know what I'm saying? So again, trade the market, but get used to this volatility because that's exactly what we're going to be doing here, okay? So now, came right on down, another higher high, went right up there above the 50-day. And while where are we at? Right in that 21-day. So that's going to be key, 69.09. Right there is key, 69.27. Then we can come on top of that candle at that 69.67 and then 69.86 level. That's your breakout. We hit that 7,000 mark. Again, this is the same thing. You're not going to hit that 7,000 mark that easy. And if you do, it's going to probably be, you're going to need a good solid punch to get through that thing. Now, on the downside here, we watch that 50-day. We watch that 100-day. Okay, and then we can come all the way down to the retest down here at that 65.21. That's the same thing with the down. Now we're going to be watching that 21-day for support. Next level is going to be yesterday's low at that 428 level. Then we have that 50-day. Then we just notch this over. See how this? Just bring that price channel over, 48.50. Bring that price channel over, 47.46. Right there, bring that rate on over here, 47.263. Then we have your 100-day and we come all the way on down, okay? That's why these price channels are so good because as it's moving on up, it also leaves the other side, okay? So that gives you the good support levels as you're coming on down. Okay, now, NASDAQ. Well, I came right on down. Look at that 100-day. Holding there. She's a beaut, Clark. Look at that. Holding her nice. Now we're back above that 50-day. So that's going to be support, 23,264. And then right down here at that 22.95 level. And then right to the bottom of that candle at 22,692. Upside, we're looking for that 21-day. Right there, 23,467. And we're looking for that 8-day, 23,491. We can crack above that. Then we can come to the top of that candle. You're looking at 23,664. We come up there at 23,721. And then there's your retest at 23,813. We crack that? Well, there it is, 24.19. Just that simple. Okay, so just keep your stuff simple, your charts simple. Don't be adding every indicator. I've been doing this for 2.5 decades. And, the more you put on, it seemed like the less I would make. I tried every indicator. Just keep it simple. 8-day, 21-day, 50-day, 100-day, 200-day simple moving averages. These blue lines, all the averages, price channels, okay? Now you can use volume, which is always good, and then you can just put on here on your RSI and your MACD. All works very, very nicely, okay? So that's all you really need here to trade to make money. And just trade the candles, okay? Watch the high, the low, and the close. That's the key. That's your support and resistance levels. Alrighty, that's what I got. God, I can't believe tomorrow's already Thursday. Unbelievable. Now, remember, the API report for crude will be out today after the close. And then EIA report for crude oil will be at 11 a.m. Natural gas will be at 10:30. And that's usually a good market mover. And then on Friday, it's going to be the old rig town. But natural gas, you got just a slam going higher. But just look for opportunity that this is going to be a fantastic short all the way on down. Okay? But be patient. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.
Wow.